it's Lisa Stens from Lisa's Creative Corner. Welcome to day 10 of the 31 Days of Christmas Card series. I hope you're enjoying all the videos so far from the creative design team. Today I have this fun shaker card to show you, and it's not just any shaker card, it's a see-through shaker card. So stay tuned, I'm going to teach you how to make it. So here's some of the supplies that we're going to need. This is a brand new stamp set called Jingle Joy Scrapbooking from the November-December 2020 catalog. So this will be available next month. And we're going to be using the shaker window and foam acetates for the stars and some silver star confetti and the star shaker window dies. We're also going to be using a page from this beautiful new silver foil patterns paper packet. There's lots of beautiful patterns in this packet, but of course, since we're going with the star theme, I think we're going to go ahead and use this sheet with the little stars on it. So we're going to go ahead and start out by using the Star Shaker Window Thin Cuts dies. And these dies come in lots of different shapes, so we're going to use the star shape for this project. And there's 4 different size stars. This one right here is the frame, so we're going to use that one. And then these 2 smaller ones have little stars in the middle that you can use to make confetti. We're going to go ahead and use the larger of those two and set the others aside. So now we're going to take the frame die and cut 2 frames out of a piece of silver foil cardstock. I created a card base with a piece of glacier cardstock, and then I cut a piece of that foil star paper down to 4 by 5 1/4 to fit right in the middle of that base. So after I adhere that to the card base, I'm going to use the second largest thin cut star and run it through my die cut machine to cut a star out of those 2 pieces. I'm going to take another piece of that star foil cardstock and cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 inches and adhere it to the inside of the card. And the reason I didn't do this before is because that thin cuts die is not deep enough to cut through all 3 pieces of cardstock at once. So I just cut the first 2 pieces, and now I'm going to line it up in that center, run it through my die cut machine again to cut that last piece. And as you can tell, it didn't cut all the way through, so I'm going to go ahead and use my micro tip scissors and just trim the little areas that it didn't quite make it all the way through. Another option is to do 1 layer at a time and then hold it up, trace it with a pencil, and then cut the next layer and just do each one singly. It really depends on your die cut machine. So now I'm going to pull out one of the star foam pieces and one of the star acetate pieces. And I'm going to use just the frame of that foam. So I'm running my fingernail all around the outer edge of that foam just to loosen it up so those little pieces in the middle don't come out. And it's a little bit tricky because there's so many different pieces in the center, but if you do it carefully with your fingernail, it makes it a lot easier. I'm just pulling it off and I'm leaving those center pieces for later. You can use them on another project. And now I'm going to go ahead and place that foam frame right on the outside edge of the die cut on the front of that card. It's a little tricky because the star has so many points, but you can maneuver it around a little bit, and that whole frame is going to be covered with the foil piece that you die cut, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Now you're going to take the acetate piece and using your fingernail just kind of scrape up the corner, and you'll see one side has a protective coating that you want to remove. Then you're going to want to peel off the protective layer from the top of that foam star to expose the adhesive and place the acetate star right on top of it. Now we're going to adhere that silver foil star frame that we die cut on top, and that's going to cover all the messy edges. And I found that liquid glass is the easiest way to do this. There's different adhesives that you can use. You can use the micro glue dots, or you can use a really thin tape runner, but I found that the liquid glass works the best on the acetate. So I just put a thin layer all the way around, and then I place my die cut star right on top. Now we're going to go ahead and open the card, and before we put the confetti inside, I want to get rid of any static that might be in there. So I take my anti-static pouch and I just add a little bit of the anti-static powder inside, and then I have a new package here of the star confetti, and I'm going to take my anti-static pouch. I like to do this when I have a brand new package of confetti or sequins. I'm just adding a little bit of the powder inside the bag and shaking it up, and this just helps get rid of any excess static that might be in there and might be on those little pieces. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of that confetti inside and just flatten it out with my finger just a little bit. And I'm going to take another piece of the star acetate and make sure to peel off that protective coating and use a little bit of liquid glass around the edges to adhere it right on top. And the tricky thing with this is you just want to make sure that none of those little pieces of confetti pop out, because there might still be a little bit of static on them. So you just want to make sure that you keep your card flat while you're adding the adhesive until you add that piece of acetate right on top, and those will trap those little guys right in there. And once you've added the acetate on top, you just want to center it as best as you can. Again, it's going to be covered, all those messy edges will be covered by another one of the frames that you die cut. So we're going to go ahead, once that's on there, you're going to add another little line of liquid glass and add that foil frame right on top. And that'll finish it off nicely and just cover up, like I said, those little messy edges and make it look nice and neat from the front and the back. So that finishes off the shaker portion of the card. Now we just want to embellish it. I really like the simplicity of the card, so I didn't want to embellish it too much. I just thought maybe adding a very small sentiment might be the perfect touch. So I found this little twinkle twinkle on one of my new stamp sets. This is the Jingle Joy Scrapbooking stamp set, and I stamped it on a piece of cardstock with some pewter ink. I cut it into a little banner shape, and then I matted it onto a piece of glacier cardstock just so that it would stand out a little bit and wouldn't get too lost on the white card. So I matted that piece, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere it to the front of the card right on top of that star. So I'm going to use a couple of those little tiny foam pieces that are on the center of that foam star, and I'm going to add them just to the ends so that it will hold it in place and you won't be able to see any adhesive when you open the card. So I'm going to go ahead and peel those off and stick them just to the outsides, and that'll finish off that card. I love the way it turned out. I love that it's not a traditional shaker card with just the shaker on the front, but that you can see it all the way through. So you could even use this as a baby card, since we technically didn't use a Christmas sentiment. But here is a true Christmas card. This one I made a couple years ago with the circle die instead of the star, but it has the same idea where you can see all the way through the card. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a see-through shaker card today. Don't forget to check the description box down below so you can see links to all the other design team members' YouTube channels so you won't miss any one of the projects from this month's collaboration. Thanks for stopping by today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.